Hi everyone, thank you for joining the Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Teddy Atlas III, joined by International Boxing Hall of Famer, my main man, my father, Teddy Atlas. How you doing today, bud?
Good. I'm doing a lot better than poor Duke yesterday. Heartbroken kids. And look, take nothing away from Houston. What a comeback. We've been talking the last 2 weeks about the NCAA, March Madness, the NCAA college tournament. Greatest sporting event, 2-week sporting event of the year. I mean, it's incredible, just incredible. It's changed a little bit with NIL now. A little bit, you got all number ones, but boy, oh boy, what action! What action! Feistiness, talent, passion. I mean, you got it all rolled up in one. And now it all comes down to tomorrow night. Today's Sunday, of course. It comes down to tomorrow night for the national title between Florida and Houston. Florida made a comeback to win their game too. I mean, I thought that was something until I saw the Houston comeback against obviously Duke. Wow, just incredible. Look, I think it came down to defense. I'm being Captain Obvious, but it came down to defense, maturity, men versus boys. I'm not knocking anybody, but I mean more mature players a little bit from a seasoning standpoint of maturity. Like in boxing, we say he doesn't have his man strength yet. Sometimes. It kind of reminded me of that. Houston had their man strength. And they played this great team. Houston's a great team. They're way up by 15. I forget what the runs were. It was like an 11-0 run at the end, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, I think 11-1.
11-1. But I think defense, they clamp down. They're known for defense. They're known for three-point shooting. Man, they hit the three-pointers when they needed to cut that deficit. But it was clamping down on defense, maturity, seasoning. I almost said it. I wanted to save it. Will. I always talk about, you hear me all the time, and there's clips up about me saying, Will and Customato would always bang this into my head. Teddy, will always beat skill if they're fairly comparable. And in this case, all these kids are talented. But when it comes down to will versus skill, Will's going to win. Will's going to win. That was will versus skill. And Charles Barkley, who I have a lot of respect for. I like Charles Barkley a lot. The player he was, I remember he signed the ticket for you when you were about 8 years old on the court. It was the New Jersey Nets on the court, was sitting courtside, and they're playing the Phoenix Suns. I still remember this. You were like 7 years old.
I remember it too.
And Charles Barkley, playing for the Suns, came over and said hello to me, and then took your ticket, took your hat too, I think. Took your ticket and signed it for you. We still have that. I have it downstairs up on a wall. He tells it like it is. He's not afraid to tell the truth. I like people that aren't afraid to tell the truth, even when it's not convenient sometimes. And it's hard. And he was a great ball player, and he's funny. He's fun to listen to. And, of course, he had his heart broken earlier in the day when his alma mater, Auburn, got beat by Florida. Florida made a comeback, and they were losing. They were losing by 9 at halftime. But then, like they say in that movie, what's The Gambler, The Hustler? They don't pay off at halftime, Charlie. You know what I mean? They don't pay off at halftime. So Barkley was upset about that, but he said it right. He said what I've always said and what I'm saying right now. And he was the only guy who said that. He said, hey, guys, we could talk about this. We could talk about what I just did, defense, the maturity. It came down to will versus skill. Houston's will was greater at the end of the day. And you see it in our business in boxing, and you see it everywhere in life. And that was a prime example of it. So anyway, it should be a hell of a game. It should be a great game. I think I'm sticking with my initial pick. I'm sticking with Florida to win it. But man, after seeing that, I'm almost afraid to stick. But I'm not a believer in jumping off once you make a pick. So I gotta kind of stick to it. But it's time to talk about will versus skill in our game, in our business, boxing. So go to it, buddy.
Yeah, so we had a bunch of fights all across the globe. We're going to start off in Kazakhstan. We had the unified middleweight champion Janibek and Alimkhanuly fighting. But before we get into that, one of the fights on the undercard was the return of Bakodir Jalolov. This is a two-time Olympic gold medalist who is 14-0 with 14 knockouts coming into the fight. He's a 2020 Olympic gold medalist. And then he took a break from his pro career to go back and win a second gold medal in the 2024 Olympics. This was his first fight in about a year and a half since returning back to the ring.
This is when they changed the rules where you could fight in the Olympics as a pro.
Exactly. And this was his return fight. He fought Igor Shevadzutskyi. Not a lot of action. Not impressed. It was very underwhelming, to be honest. But I just want to hear your thoughts on Jalolov.
Yeah, he's a southpaw, right? That causes a problem. He's tall. He's long. He fought a guy that really kind of brought back memories to me of a guy who I loved. You know, he became a sort of a legendary guy in his own way. You know, he became a guy that was a fan-friendly favorite. Butterbean, you know. No, really. I mean, Butterbean was on USA fights all the time, fighting. And he was a tough guy. You know, he looked like a Butterbean. I don't have to go deep into that. And he was a guy that he brought it. And like I said, he became one of these, cult-type figures where, people were loving Butterbean. Eventually, years later, he fought Larry Holmes, believe it or not. Larry beat him. And he put up a look. Larry was old and, wouldn't have been in the ring if it wasn't with somebody named Butterbean, I guess, right? But take nothing away from Butterbean. Butterbean fought tough. He always fought tough. He winged those punches. This guy really did. If they ever do a movie on Butterbean, I think they should do a documentary on that guy. He has quite a story, and he developed quite a following. This guy could play him. I mean, he really looked like, and a tough guy. Look, just like Butterbean. But at the end of the day, Jalolov, it wasn't a pretty fight. It was a lot of grabbing. Obviously, he wants to fight on the outside. He's tall, he's long, try to catch the opponent, Igor. I won't even try to go.
I won't even try. Butterbean.
The Ukrainian Butterbean, exactly. Igor, he did catch him one round. He dropped him. He caught him. I believe it was right down the middle with a straight left hand. He blinded him, I believe, with the jab. He never saw it. Split the guard with the left hand. It was nice. But the rest of it wasn't all that nice, what I saw. I only saw the end part of the fight where, again, he got off on the outside and then Igor got in close. There was a lot of grabbing, a lot of clutching, no inside fighting for the most part, sloppy. Not something that, if you had more brains than Teddy Atlas Sr., you probably... No, I'm actually Teddy Atlas Jr. I'm sorry. That's Teddy Atlas III, and his son is Teddy Atlas IV, and my father was Teddy Atlas Sr. I get confused with those things sometimes, a little bit. But if you were a little smarter than me, you probably wouldn't have spent time watching the whole thing. But I want to try to report to you guys. At the end of the day, the only reason I really brought up such a non-eventful fight, Bud, and you didn't even want to talk about it. And you're right, because you have more feelings for the audience than I do, apparently, because you said, why even bring this up? But later on, it's going to become relevant because we're going to talk about a match that I think is going to have to be made between two undefeated heavyweights. One of them is obviously Jalolov, and another one is one that is promoted by Top Rank. So we'll get to that. Where they give you a little something to look forward to. But anyway, at the end of the day, the two-time Olympic gold medalist went the distance, with an old throwback, a guy that reminded you of an old throwback.
That's right. Well, we're going to move on to the main event there in Kazakhstan. Like we were saying, the homecoming for the unified middleweight champion, Janibek Anauel. He fought Anauel Ngammissengue. And Anauel came from France. I never heard of him before. The resume was not impressive, to say the least, heading in. But quickly I gained some respect for this guy. He was game. He didn't back up. He did not give an inch. He came forward all night for as long as it lasted. And in the end, he was outgunned. Janibek, I'm a big fan of this guy. I mean, his ability, strong jab. He could box. He could move a little bit. Shortens up punches on the inside. He's so calm. Puts punches together. And then lands a tremendous, devastating, explosive knockout in the 5th round. What'd you think of this one?
Well, he's managed by Igor Clemens, probably the top manager. Is that fair to say? I think he's the top guy in the game.
I would say so. Yeah.
Right? He's got Usyk. He's got Lomachenko. I mean, he's got Adabek.
He's got Janibek. I believe he has Muchazayev. He has many, many world champions.
Listen, Janibek's a southpaw. There was 2 southpaws in the ring. His opponent was southpaw too. He's now, as you said, 17-0, 12 down. Yeah, he's the boogeyman of that division. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I don't think anybody's rushing to fight him, and for good reason, because he's so damn good. He's so serious. He doesn't waste anything. You can hit him though. You can hit him. You can hit him. He moves his head. He can be slick, but you can hit him. You can catch him going back if you go back with him. Being a southpaw, his lead hand is his right hand. He'll go back with the right hand a little low. Yeah, if you force him back, you go with him. Yeah, there's hope. But he's a guy that's scary right now. Probably the most in that division. I think that's a fair statement. And the reason you want to fight him is because of what I said, even though you got to hope that you can hit him. But it's also because it's not like he's a name you can make a lot of money with right now. Maybe he will become. But right now, no, I don't see I don't see a lot of posters on the telephone pole saying let's go and watch Janibek, in his next fight. He's not out there enough yet. He's not built up enough in that kind of area. Obviously, in the ring, he is, and he's only had 17 fights. So, comes from the same part of the world that another great fighter comes from, Triple G. Yeah, another serious guy. Another good puncher, hell of a champion, hell of a man. What he used to say on HBO? What was his signature thing?
Drama show.
Oh, that was it. He knew how. He became where, of course, he was on HBO every month or so. Big drama. He became where it made sense to fight him because you could get paid. Even though it didn't make sense because you probably didn't win. But you got paid. Right now, it doesn't make sense to fight Janibek so fast because, you're not getting paid.
But do you think this fight will change that? Because to your point, he was getting hit some, and you can hit him. Do you think that this changes anybody's thoughts in the 160-pound division of maybe facing him now after watching this fight?
Yeah, I think so. I think it always does. I think it's kind of like the Predator movie. My man Ben. Hey, Ben, get ready. The Predator movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger, they're going after the Predator, right? The Predator's killing everybody. Richie's shaking his head. Richie's saying, yeah, I'm with you, Ted. I'm with you. I watched that movie. And the guy, you can't see this creature from outer space. You can't see him. He's killing everybody. And then they shoot the machine gun into the woods. He disappears. We hit nothing, the one guy tells. So, we hit nothing. We shut up the whole woods. We hit nothing. And then all of a sudden they go by on a leaf. They see something. And it's yellow. And it's liquid. It's his blood. His blood from another planet. And Schwarzenegger says, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
So, so if you can hit it, we can get it. You know what I mean? If you can hit it, we can get them. And that's how I would look at it as a trainer. So I know that fighters look at it that way. At the end of the day, I'll run through it real quick. Listen, you know what makes him so special to me, Teddy? But what makes him so special is that I always talk about geometry. You got to fight in your geometry. He's tall. He's long. He knows how to fight in his geometry on the outside. But you know what? It don't matter. His geometry can be inside or outside. That's what makes him so damn special and so damn scary. Because he could go inside, which he did, and throw short, concise combinations that are going to knock you out. And they're beautiful. They're like Joe Louis punches, short and sweet. And then he could go on the outside and he could get full extension, which he did. Full extension on his punches. Keep you on the outside. Don't let you go close. Make you go through a bad neighborhood and freaking mug you to get to him. So he could do either one, either or. Wow, that's difficult. He's that versatile. He's that dimensional. He's that good. Yeah, that's enough. I'm done with this guy. Like Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny. Ben got you again. Okay, I'm done with this guy.
I'm finished with this guy.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. His style makes for good fights. He just can't get that dancing partner, but we'll see. We got Lara in that division. Hamza Shiraz sounds like he's moving up in weight. We got Adames. So we'll see if he could get somebody to dance with at 160 pounds. I'd love to see it. And if not, he might have to move up to chase the bigger money fights to 168 pounds.
He's got the skeleton. I mean, he's got the frame. You know, he's got the frame to do it. You know, and a lot of those guys, isn't it kind of funny? But a couple of those guys in that weight division have the frame to move up. Well, you might almost say they got to move up. Like they got to get a little bigger. They're so tall. You know, I mean, Shiraz, I think Shiraz is moving up, right?
Yeah, it sounds like he is moving up to 168 pounds. So we will see what's next for Janibek and for the rest of that middleweight division. So we will keep it moving. We'll go across the pond to the UK. We had a heavyweight matchup. We had Joyce squaring off against Filip Hrgovic. Now, this was an interesting heavyweight bout. This was Hrgovic's first fight back since being knocked out versus Daniel Dubois. And Joyce has been on a little bit of a slide after back-to-back losses to Zhilei Zhang. He fell short to Derek Chisora in his last fight. So this was a career fight for both of these guys, especially for Joyce at 39 years of age now. And it was, for me, tough to watch. He's so game. He's so competitive. He's so tough. He's coming forward. And he had some flashes and some moments, especially where Hrgovic was, I thought gas tank was running low a little bit. But my goodness, he eats so many punches. As you said before in the old timers, he does get offended if you miss him. And how many right hands can he eat over and over, and left hooks and you name it. But turned into a competitive fight. I thought in the end, the judges got it right. I saw it that way as a unanimous decision for Hrgovic. I disagreed with the commentators. I think they thought Joyce might have squeaked it out or was much closer fighting there in his backyard in the UK. But what do you think of this heavyweight battle?
Yeah, listen, I thought it was close to the end. I thought Hrgovic pulled ahead in the end. I thought Joyce made it close and was even possibly winning. Whenever he backed up Hrgovic, he did well, and he was catching him. A couple things. First of all, this would not be a fight that drew people, which they always draw, where the greatest fans in the world are in England, because they have the greatest history with the sport. The English fans are just connected with boxing. They go back longer than any other fans with the sport. They go all the way back, to a different century. They go back to when they changed the rules. I mean, the Marquess of Queensberry rules changed, made boxing more civilized, where there were rounds, where there were gloves, where you had to go to a neutral corner. That's all because of the Marquess of Queensberry rules. That's all connects to England, and the fans connect with it. So the reason I go down that road is because Joyce, 39 years old, Hrgovic 32. All right. But Joyce coming off the losses, everything else. Hrgovic, of course, coming off the loss and gets stopped by Dubois, who I think has a lot more to do in his career. He's only 27. He's only getting better. He's got confidence now. Look out for that guy. That guy could be a freight train. Look out for that guy. He's on the track now. He's on the track now the right way. But the only reason why this fight was at all relevant is because it was in England. That's why I took the time to set that all up. If that fight's anywhere else, nobody cares. And I'm not knocking these guys. I love them. I love Joyce especially. How gutsy he is, how everything else.
With that being said, before you move on, I'd like to just touch on that, talking about UK. Initially, this was supposed to be Dillian White versus Joe Joyce. Dillian White was injured. He pulls out, so Hrgovic steps in. But I just wanted to add that in there. Go ahead.
You did. I'm glad you did. And give Joyce credit. Joyce, the change of opponent, Hrgovic takes the fight on quick notice. So give him all credit for that. I'm just saying that this fight is of no magnitude, close to what it is if it's not in England, where the fans back their fighters the way they back their fighters and love their fighters and come out for it. And I love them for that. I love them for that. Crumpets or no crumpets. I love them for that. But that's the truth. And here we are. We got the fight. Hrgovic has a new trainer. He got rid of Ronnie Shields after his loss to Dubois. Now he's with Abel Sanchez. I got to, again, truth. The truth. You don't want the truth. Ben, there you go. Which one was that? Few Good Men? Few Good Men, right? Jack Nicholson, Tom Cruise. What do you want? I want the truth. What do you want? I said, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
The truth is that I didn't see him get any better. Hrgovic didn't get one bit better with the new trainer, Abel Sanchez. I'm sorry. I mean, what changed was the opponent. Yeah, he didn't have Dubois in front of him. That's what changed. But otherwise, no. Joyce had a chance to win this fight. And Joyce is I don't want to come off mean-spirited, but would I be way off if I said he was a shot fighter? Would I be? People, I love him. But, I mean, I looked at his legs. In the initial rounds, they weren't good. His heart kept him in it. And one other thing kept him in it. Hrgovic not being able to do more with what he had in front of him. What do I mean by more? Same thing every time. Jab, right hand. That's all you see. Jab, right hand. Same thing. I didn't see his new trainer change combinations where maybe he was a little more creative, and maybe why, Teddy, the jab and right hand was landing all night. You're right. You know what? You're right. It was landing. Why should he change the combinations against Joyce? Because they might have landed where Joyce didn't see them. And that would have knocked him out maybe. Instead of throwing the same ones with the same rhythm where he saw them. Yeah, he took them. And yeah, he got stunned with some of them. But he's got the same combinations coming at him all night. They couldn't get rid of him. Maybe if he had been taught different kinds of combinations, maybe one of those would have surprised him, would not have been seen, would have landed cleaner, would have landed not cleaner because the right hands did land clean, would have landed again in a blind way where he didn't have time to register it was coming. Those are the punches that get rid of even tough guys. And man, Joyce's heart kept him there. But also what I said kept him there. And Joyce, I wish that somebody got him early in his career before he had all these miles on the odometer, before the rock got cracked from the pounding of that sledgehammer every day in the yard. Bang! Bang, bang, bang on the rock. Sooner or later, the rock starts to splinter. Yeah, he had a chin like a rock, but now it starts to splinter. One thing, if they could have taught him one thing, and they never taught him, they should be, I tell you, people should get arrested sometimes for not teaching fighters basic things they need to be taught. You know what the one thing that should have been taught to Joyce?
Move his head?
Well, that would help. When he does move his head, don't lay on the right. He always moves his head, lays on and gets hit with right hands. All night, all night, all night, all night. Go back in his tapes. Never changed. If he would just move his head to his left, finish outside the right hand, he wouldn't have got hit with those right hands all night. Just that one simple defensive correction. That defensive flaw that was never corrected. So that I had to get that out. That gets in my craw because that's the responsibility of a trainer to teach those things. The responsibility of the fighter is to behave like a fighter. And he behaves like a fighter. He's tough. He's resilient. I mean, he's everything you want a fighter to be. Except he's too damn easy to hit, and now he's too damn old for it to matter. Because the punishment has been installed already. But at the end of the day, Hrgovic, we talk about Joyce being easy to hit. Let me tell you something. Hrgovic ain't no bargain. he ain't no bargain. Somebody better teach that boy some defense. Let me tell you. You back him up, he goes on a straight line. Could somebody teach him maybe move your head off the line and counter instead of moving straight back where Joyce backs you up and then hits you because you're in the path of the punch? Just do this. Move your head, bang. Move your head, bang, and counter. And you'd eliminate that one problem. And with that one problem, maybe about 50 punches that you get hit with during the course of the night. So, anyway, that's I'm through with that one. What else can I say? Hrgovic showed heart. They both showed plenty of heart. Yeah, they behave like fighters. I don't see Hrgovic when he goes back up to that level that he has to go back up to, like a Dubois level. I don't see anything being different for him as far as changing the outcome from what it was the last time he was in the ring with that higher level of an opponent, which was, of course, Dubois, which represented his first loss.
Yeah, that was an excellent breakdown by you. I'm so glad you said what you said about Joyce's lack of defense and ability to slip punches or slipping over to the same side every time. I was thinking that watching that. It drove me nuts. You just got to time it up. And he doesn't even slip it. He's pulling away. Just not technically sound. So what you always say, I hope he has the right people with him that protect him and take care of him because he deserves it. And at 39 years of age, with some tremendous wins on his resume, wins over Daniel Dubois, knockout win over Joseph Parker, wins that are looking better and better these days. Yeah, I hope he has somebody to protect him as he moves on.
But the point to that, Bud, and I'm so glad you finished with that. I really am. Give him his due. Give the man his due that he beat those guys. But when it leaves you, it leaves you. When it goes, it goes. When it's gone, it's gone.
Quick.
And quick. And nobody knows when that day's coming until it comes. Well, you can see it coming. I shouldn't say that. But when it comes, it's over. And that's what happened. That day came. So forget about all that. Because once he got old from taking all those punches, in other words, he was winning battles, but in the end, he wasn't going to win the war. That's what we're saying, Bud. That's beautifully put that you brought that up. I'm so glad. Yeah, he beat the Y, beat all these guys. Unbelievable. Parker, unbelievable. But while he was winning those battles, at the end of the day, because what he was taking to win those battles was going to be too much. And then he was going to lose the war. He's lost the war now in that kind of way. The last thing I'll say about it, from a technical standpoint, there was one part of the fight, a couple rounds, where I thought it was interesting, where Hrgovic, again, no defense, but Joyce was missing. Hrgovic was pulling back just enough. He was staying just enough out of range. It reminded me a little bit, I know people get nuts that I even put this guy's name and connected in this, but Muhammad Ali, late in his career, where sometimes he would pull back on the ropes. He would make
I
the
get what you're
rope.
saying.
He would go and drive to the reps and everybody crazy because he would loosen up the ropes before, or Angelo Dundee would do. He would loosen them up before the fight. So he knew that he could pull back an extra 6 inches and just make you fall short. The trick to that is you got to step in. See, Joyce wasn't stepping in. He was just throwing from there. He wasn't stepping in, and he was just coming short. But then that didn't last too long because Joyce started stepping in. And that gig was up. That gig was up. You got to do more than that.
Yeah, credit to Hrgovic. He did overcome a cut on his eye early in that fight. I believe it was the first round. Obviously, he dug deep. The gas tank was low. He found a way, persevered, and to come back from his last fight being a knockout loss, to erase those demons and come back and be in the win column. So we will see what is next. With that being said, I'm going to take a quick pause before we move on to the next one, just to give a thank you to today's sponsor, Athletic Greens, the all-in-one daily drink to support better health and peak performance. These guys have spent 10 years with top nutritionists and doctors to create this formula. It's been made from 75 whole food sourced ingredients, has vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, and antioxidants. This is like an insurance policy for your body's health and immunity. Simply visit athleticgreens.com/atlas to claim your special offer of 10 free travel packs with your first purchase. All right, so with that being said, but we're going to keep it moving, and we will move on to fights from Las Vegas, Nevada. Another heavyweight battle. This time was Richard Torrez Jr. versus Guido Vianello. Richard Torrez, former Olympian, silver medalist, top rank up-and-coming prospect, only 25 years old, fighting the Italian Guido Vianello, who's coming off a big win, his most recent fight. And this was an ugly, sloppy, boring fight, at least for the first 4 or 5 rounds. It was a hold fest. Vianello was actually deducted a point for holding early on, I believe in the second round. And then in the middle rounds to the later rounds, we started to open up and get a little bit more action. I thought the big difference, Torres, the southpaw, did some good work with his lead right hand, some nice counter hooks. He was the quicker, twitcher guy. He could close the gap. He had more dimensions to him. And Vianello didn't fight the right fight, at least early on. He didn't use his height advantage at 6'6". He didn't use his length in box. He was more on the inside, where he couldn't fight and didn't have inside fighting. He was just holding. Anyway, in the end, Torres wins a unanimous decision. He moves to 13-0 now. What do you think of Torres? Is he a real prospect in the heavyweight division?
I think of the movie Jerry Maguire when Tom Cruise is trying to come back with his secretary, who he married, and they had separated. And he came back and he started to explain to her his care for her and that he wanted to come back. And she stopped him and said, "You had me at hello. You had me at sloppy and ugly. You had me. It was sloppy and ugly. There's no better way. There's no way." And one of the commentators, listen, I'll give Timmy Bradley credit. I mean, he was a world champion. He was a Hall of Fame fighter. I'll give him credit. When it's not good, he'll tell you. A lot of these commentators won't because their boss, in their mind, to me, you know who my boss is? Me. That's why I don't get a job. But let's not digress. This is a job, and I do. I do the UFC. I do all the coverage for that, for ESPN. I do other stuff. I get asked to do a lot of different stuff. But that is why probably I'm not in one of those chairs right now, because I'm going to say what I believe. Bradley will say if it's something that his boss's fighter don't look good, and the boss is Bob Arum, that it's Top Rank. They're the ones that if they don't like them, they can get rid of them. You know, they go to ESPN, they get rid of them. So for the most part, a lot of these commentators, too often, you could see they're threatened by that. You could see that's held over their head. It don't have to be. It's their choice. But it's a reality that if they're critical, I mean, the great Marv Albert got fired from the Knicks job for being critical of the Knicks. If they can fire him, they can fire anyone. MSG Network fired him years ago. He's a friend of mine, Marv. I did the Olympics with him. And they fired him because he was telling the truth about that period where the Knicks weren't too damn good, and they didn't like it. So a lot of these commentators, they're not going to tell you the truth. They're just not gonna. But do they realize how bad it sounds to a guy that's reasonable, to a person that has a brain in their head, to a person that likes the truth, to a person that knows what they're watching? And again, Bradley will tell you, but the writer there, and look, I know he don't have the expertise. I know that he don't have the background, so he doesn't know what he don't know. I understand that. But still, there's certain things that are pretty basic. For him to say in spots that say that Torres looks, he looks good. No, he looks sloppy. He don't look good. Neither one of them look good. How do you even say that he looks good? And then he said, when they get in on the inside, my God, the inside was ugly. He says, he's neater, Neater, neater on the inside than Vianello. Neater. That's like saying, my 20-month-old beautiful granddaughter, Adeline, is neat when she colors inside the lines when she's coloring her color book that I got for her. She's not. She's beautiful. She's loving. She's smart. She's precious. She ain't neat. She's not neat, but she's not neat. It's all over. The best part about that is that her grandpa finally got smart enough to buy the coloring pens that are not permanently doing damage to the floor like they used to when I wasn't smart enough to buy those. That's neat. That's the neatest part of it, is that I bought the right coloring tools that are not permanent markers. But it just drives me nuts. I hear this, I say, oh my God, I can't listen to it.
No, not for nothing. I'm so happy you said that, because I thought the same thing listening to Fight. We're just making things up. I'm watching it. That's not happening. There's no way. And that's why, for me, and I'll jump to this real quick, the question is, I was very underwhelmed. How good is Torres? Am I missing something? Am I too critical off of a sloppy fight and performance? Because for a guy who's an Olympic silver medalist, I didn't see the skill set. I didn't see feints or traps or thinking or just elevating his level of punches. He just rushed in and fell in.
I don't want this to be a knock Torres party, and it's not meant to be, and it's not. He's 13-0. What's he, 13-0 now? Yeah, I think we're 11
He's now 13-0 and 25 years old.
He's going to fight a big fight. We know that. He's being brought along. Look, he's with one of the power brokers that can afford to pick their opponents, put them on network, build them up, and get the right opponents till they get to that place. No, you're not wrong. To answer your question directly, no, you're not wrong. I mean, he looks sloppy. He doesn't use a jab. I know he's short, but teach him a jab. Tyson was short. He used a jab. If he used a jab, that would improve his defense, because he gets reckless coming in. He comes in from too far away. He falls in. He's like a bull in a china shop in spots where he throws wide shots. You can punch in between them. And guess what? Vianello, who is he's a game guy, and he's big and he's tall, but he is raw too. That guy is not going to make you forget about Joe Louis. I mean, he's sloppy. He don't know how to fight inside. He only knows how to. Good thing he don't know how to fight inside. Good thing for Torres. But he only knows how to throw on the outside. Even they don't know how to do it right. Even there, when you throw shots, you should set your feet and you shouldn't fall in. And then if you're the taller guy and you have an advantage over a guy like Torres, and you're going to stand on the outside and you're going to pot shot him, you're going to time him. That's what I would do if I'm training Vianello. You're not going to go near him. You're going to stay outside, let him do your work for you. Let him come in from too far away, let him reach, let him throw wide, and when he does, you set with your feet, bang. You throw a straight shot in between his round shot. And you nail him, and you try to knock him out. That's what you do. The problem with Vianello is his feet don't stay stationary. They don't stay set on the canvas. They fall in. And when they fall in, he falls in. And then you're in the territory that Torres needs you to be in. You don't have the edge anymore. You can't time him on the way in. You can't take advantage of his vulnerable habits of coming in from too far away because you're inside with him now. But somebody will be able to do that. And I tell you, they ain't going to thank the commentator who said he looked great at the end when he gets caught and gets hurt and gets beat. They're not going to thank him then. They're going to say, gee, I wish somebody had told me the truth. So maybe I could have worked on it and corrected it. So at the end of the day, yeah, he's a strong guy, Torres. He's a game guy, just Vianello's game too. But he's got a lot of work. Top Rank can only do so much. Yeah, they can pick opponents. Yeah, they can navigate. Yeah, they can maneuver you. Yeah, they can put you in the right spot. But sooner or later, you're going to have to fight somebody in that spot that can take advantage of these flaws that we're talking about, that aren't corrected and need to be corrected. So, and again, the one simple thing for me as a trainer, when he's throwing those wide shots and he's dependent on all those big shots, power shots, and he's leaving himself vulnerable, teach him to throw a jab. At least a jab, like I said before, will improve his defense. You will not be giving yourself up when you jab. You will not be making yourself vulnerable. You will not be falling in. It will help you get in with your legs under you instead of being top heavy with your upper body ahead of your legs where you are vulnerable. Teach him a jab, move your head, bang. And just a hard jab like Tyson had. That alone would improve him 40%. 40%. That would improve him. Now, I agree with you. His best punch is the southpaw right hook. That's his best punch. He can catch you with a counter coming in. You know, he can catch you if you pull back. He can catch you with that. He did land a big left hand in one round. I don't know if it was the fifth round, whatever round it was. I can't remember. But there was one big left hand he landed. And you know why he landed it? He bent down low, dipped to his right, and then he threw from the left side. From a low position, he threw high. And he caught Vianello standing high because Vianello saw him bend low and thought the punch was going to come from below. But it came from above. So that was smart. That was good. At the end of the day, I'm underwhelmed. I'm using your words. I'm sorry. And again, you don't like the truth. You know what? You can't be watching this show then. You can't. Because you're going to get the truth, you know, either way that it comes out. If it comes out to be applauding the guy, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. And you're going to get it. When it comes out to make points about areas like we are now of shortcomings, you're going to get that too. I'm true with this.
Yeah, in fairness, this was a step up in competition the first time in his career for Torres.
Oh, yeah, but I got to say one thing in that. I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes, but still the guy's raw. The guy, he stepped to here, not to here. Not here, forget here. No, he didn't go here. He went about here. All right, now, here's another thing that drove me nuts, where the writer said, oh, but you got to calculate in there. He didn't use that word, I'm sorry. But he said, you got to understand he's fighting a bigger, heavier, taller guy. And that alone doesn't make you better. That alone, ask Mark Gastineau about that. Ask Ed Too Tall Jones about that. Don't get me going here. Did it make that their height and size advantage that they have automatically give them an advantage? No, because they couldn't fight. Because they didn't know how to fight. They didn't know how to use it. God bless him, but tell Will Chamberlain that. They don't get bigger than Will Chamberlain. And he was supposed to fight Muhammad Ali until during the press conference, Muhammad Ali stood behind him and said, Timber. And then that was the end of that. There was no there was no Will Chamberlain fight. I think I could go out on a branch, on a limb here a little bit, and say that the height and the size of Will Chamberlain would not have helped him had he fought Muhammad Ali. So please, Please get someone else to talk to me on TV. I can't hear that stuff anymore. Please. I'm sorry.
The last thing I'll leave you with, a scary thought to think, and this is going to sound more negative, which I'm not trying to be, but just being honest, this is the best American heavyweight prospect. This is our only chance at maybe getting back to the heavyweight crown, at least right now with the landscape that it is.
Well, this is the reason I brought up Jalolov. Now we're going to segue back to this. I knew I'd find my way. Thank you, bud. I knew I didn't even need a torch. I didn't even need you to take me by the hand. Now we can segue right back to where we started the show with the undefeated 15-0 Jalolov, who Torrez is a silver medalist. Guess who beat him in the Olympics? Jalolov. Jalolov is a two-time gold medalist. We said this early in the show, so I'm not going to retrace the whole thing. He's a two-time gold medalist. One of the Olympics he won, he beat Torrez in the finals. He's 15-0. Torrez is 13-0. Let's see that fight. No, really. Let's see that fight. And I'm going to tell you, Torrez, unless he improves in areas they said, he'll lose to him again, just like he lost to him. And Jalolov did not look good. He did not look impressive. But he's tall. He's long. He knows how to fight on the outside. He can't fight on the inside either, kind of like Vianello. But he's much better on the outside. He can at least keep his feet still. He's a southpaw. He can punch. He will catch Torrez coming in. And I'm sure that's how he beat him in the Olympics. I'm just guessing. Okay, it's a wild guess on my part that he stood on the outside. He was able to catch him maybe with uppercuts, whatever. But he was able to catch him on the outside, use the jab, keep separation. That's how you beat Torrez. So Jalolov, who already beat him, as I said, in the Olympics for the gold medal match, if they fought right now, I'd have to go with Jalolov again. Just on the dimensions, the physical dimensions, that he'll be able to beat him on the outside. Because Torrez has not shown any development. That doesn't mean that it's a death sentence to be a great fighter if you're short. Don't even get me started on how many great fighters I could run off here that was short and they became great fighters. But they learned how to fight short. And they had learned how to beat tall guys because they learned how to fight short. How to move their head, how to get in, how not to fall in, how to use their jab, how to allow their being short to be an advantage, not a disadvantage.
Yeah, that would be an interesting matchup, and one that you would think you could sell with the history of the amateurs, right? Olympic gold versus silver gold. So we shall see, but that was a pretty thorough breakdown from Las Vegas in the Top Rank card. We'll move on to the last live action from the weekend, to Australia. We had the return of Tim Tszyu versus Joey Spencer. Obviously, this is the son of Costa Tszyu. Tszyu has lost 2 fights in a row and made his return back and had the right opponent for his return back in his home country.
Bingo!
PBC's Joey Spencer. We've been seeing him for quite some time, and he's just never panned out to be the prospect that PBC was hoping for. And at this point, to me, he's become what we saw last night, a guy who's outgunned and is an opponent. It maybe took a round or two for Tszyu to shake out some cobwebs from the past after first return since being knocked out. But he was able to do that, got on track in the 3rd round, and then closed the show, got the stoppage in the 4th round. Joey Spencer's corner threw in the towel, which he's trained by his father, which is a good stoppage. What'd you think of the return of Tszyu? And it seems like we're setting up Tszyu versus Keith Thurman next. We've touched on that after Thurman's last fight, but if you want to just touch on that again.
Yeah. Like I said, bingo. It's all about the matchmaking. Give that man a cigar and a stuffed animal, whatever they got up there. What do you got up there? You got bears, you got seals, what do you got? All right, come on, give my man. I used to do that when I used to take you to the fairs when you were little, and you loved it. Look, all about the matchmaking. This time they got it right. His last fight, forget about the loss to Fedorov. The blood really had everything to do with the cut. So I'm not even going down that road. But his comeback fight off that loss was they just didn't know what they were doing. They that was criminal negligence by a manager. It was. I'm sorry. Oh, you don't like the truth? Okay, I'll give you a minute to change the channel. Go ahead, guys. Yeah, change your channel. Because really, what am I going to tell you? I'm going to BS you? I'm going to go along to get along because I want to be friends. I don't care about being friends with people. I care about being friends with myself, that I know that I can live with what I say and what I do. And that I'm saying the things because I actually believe them. And I use my experience to use proper judgment on what I do say. They just got it so wrong in that fight against the champion.
Muchazayov.
Yeah, I mean, they got it so wrong. That guy is a beast. But they made a big mistake. They didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't know what they didn't know, bud. They didn't know. They didn't go deep enough. I never would have allowed that fight. And that's not me being a Monday morning quarterback. You know me better than that. There's no way we were getting in the ring if I'm training him with that guy. No way. See, he had one fight where he had an off fight because he was training during Ramadan. He's a very serious Muslim. It's a very devout Muslim. And during Ramadan, you have to fast. And a lot of fighters, you gotta be smart about it. A lot of guys just say, no, I'm not gonna fight during Ramadan because it's rough. It's rough. You're not getting your right nutriment. You're training hard. You're not getting the right things in you. So he was off in that fight. But if they understood how compromised he was from not eating properly because he trained during Ramadan, rather than take him off a bad performance, they would have been, what I would have saw was, oh my God, this guy was able to fight that level of an opponent and still win, where he was compromised the way he was not having eaten right for a whole month. Oh no, I don't want that guy. I don't want to go near that guy. I hate to see that guy when he's 100%. And they saw him when he was 100%. And he destroyed Tszyu. So this time it was all about the matchmaking. It was all about getting it right. And they got it right. They got the right guy. Well, Joey Spencer, look, I'm not here to knock Joey Spencer and his father, but he got knocked out a few years ago on PBC when Al Heyman built up PBC. I said this years ago, so I'm not giving you new news. I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. I'm not kicking a guy when he's down. I'm not doing that. I said years ago, one thing I like Heyman. I like what he's doing. He's he's paying the fighters a lot of money. He's overpaying them, but he's paying them a lot of money. He's trying to make fights. He's trying to do this. He's trying whatever. The problem was he didn't make fights outside his circle. He kept it in his circle. He didn't go outside that circle enough. But that wasn't his biggest problem. When he was investing all this money into building up this dynasty, building up this machine where he was going to have this promotional company with all top fighters. And he was signing, top guys. When he was bringing up the new guys and signing guys, he did not have a good scout. Like, you're a scout. You go out there in the NFL and you say, draft this guy, don't draft this guy. You do your work. You do your due diligence. You travel all over the place. You see the guy. You do an x-ray vision on the guy. You know what he is psychologically, physically, everything, technically. And sometimes I've seen you in the draft room where guys, football guys, real football guys said, we love this guy. And you said, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. And you know what? You turned out to be right because you scouted him, because you saw what you needed to see. Heyman never, with all the money he spent, he should have spent money on finding a scout. And there's not a lot of them in boxing. But find a scout, someone who actually knew talent. Find the talent evaluator. He never did that. So he started signing these guys up because they look good. They were, and when it came time to fight somebody, he had a terrible surprise. They weren't that good. Joey Spencer, when it came time to fight somebody, he got knocked out. He wasn't as good. He's a good-looking kid. He's a game kid. He's a tough kid. He's all those things. But he wasn't the kind of prospect that you want to invest that way in, where down the road it's going to pay off. And when he stepped up a little bit, he got knocked out. He was the same guy last night. He was no different. He won some fights. He got past that. He's got heart. God bless him. But he's still a guy. He's not a puncher. He's not ultra fast. And he's not hard to hit. He's right in front of you. And he chose the wrong fight. He chose to fight right in front of Tszyu. I'm not saying Tszyu's a monster, but he decided to stand right in front of a guy where he's got a bow and arrow and the other guy's got a gun. You don't stand in front of a guy with a bow and arrow because you got to pull the string back, fellas. You got to pull the string back. And by the time you pull the string back, he fills you with 10 holes. Yeah, Rich. Yeah. And it's that simple. He chose to fight in front of this guy. He's got a handgun. The other guy's got an automatic rifle. And he's in front of him, and Tszyu took it easy the first couple rounds to get his bearings, to get his distance, everything else. And Tszyu got hit a couple shots. It made him happy. Oh, Teddy, what did you just say? Are you nuts? It made him happy because he knew, first of all, he's not a big puncher, Spencer. He knew if he hit him, he could hit him. He knew he was fighting the wrong fight. Oh, he's right in front of me where he caught. He's right where, wait, he hit me? I can hit him. And I hit harder. I hit faster. I hit shorter. Tszyu's a good offensive fighter. That's one thing he is. He throws beautiful short combinations. He's got fast hands, and he's got power. And he places his punches pretty damn well. And, man, he had a field day. He had Spencer right in front. Game kid. Right in front of him, fighting the wrong way, fighting in the tiger's cage, in the lion's cave. Went right in the lion's cave, right in front of him, throw, and now Tszyu came right back. The difference, what I said, Tszyu's punches, they came back faster, in combination, and hard. And he destroyed him. And the other thing that Spencer doesn't do himself any favors. He's right there, game, right in front of him, throwing, and he don't move after he punches. He throws the punches, and he's right there, straight up stationary to receive. He tries to block, but you can't block them all. You got to move your head or you got to change your range. You can't block them when a guy's putting together 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 punches like Tszyu was doing. You're not going to block them all. They're going to get through. And they got through. And that was the end of the night. But it was the end of the night when they signed the contract. Because they got it right. Because Tszyu's people finally understood who the right opponent needed to be and what it needed to be. And it was Joey Spencer, unfortunately, for him. And that's what it is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. Honestly said. And just real quick, to me, very intriguing, interesting matchup stylistically, right, versus Keith Thurman. How do you see that one? Is that a fight, if you were the manager, do you take on Thurman or are you looking elsewhere?
No, at this point in his career, you can't turn down Thurman. Former world champion, looked good his last fight, I know, and all that. But guy he's fought about as often as Haley's Comet has come around. Matter of fact, I think Haley's Comet's got him beat. Look that up, Rich. Look that up for me. I'm only kidding. No, Rich, I'm kidding. You're kidding. Thank you. I love you. He's been injured. Listen, Thurman was a world champion. I thought he was going to be the face in boxing at one point. I really did. I said that on ESPN years ago when he was undefeated and he was world champion. But he's a guy who's had injuries. He's a guy who made a lot of money. He's a guy who just has not fought. Now, he came back, he looked good, but you got to be able to, if you want to get back to the driver's seat, you want to get back to the champion seat, back to the throne, the way that Tszyu wanted, you can't say no to Keith Thurman. But I just explained it well enough.
And he's the smaller man who's a natural welterweight.
Yeah. You can't, exactly. You can't say no. No. If you can make that fight, there's intrigue, there's interest in that fight. There's enough of it, at least. Yeah, you got to make that fight and you got to win that fight. I'm not saying he's going to beat Thurman because Thurman, he's a good athlete. He still looks like a good athlete. He didn't look like a guy that abused himself during those years off. He looked like a guy who's still fresh, a guy who can fight, who can box, who can punch, who's got good talent, good hand speed. It'd be a good fight. I'd want to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be an interesting fight, and it seems like that will be the fight that's next. Tszyu said in the ring afterwards, signed the contract, so we'll see if Thurman signs the contract.
There was one thing he said that was cute, that his wife in the background. Did you catch that?
I did.
He said, in case this is my last fight here in front of all you great people, and I don't get to fight here again, because who knows where the Thurman fight will be, right? You would think it would be there, but he said, if this is my last fight here, I want to thank everybody. It's been a great privilege, great honor to follow in my father's footsteps, that my father fought here, my brother fought here, I fought here. And his wife was standing in the back. And he said, and maybe someday if I have a child, he'll fight here. She said, no. That was great. She said, no, that ain't happening. No.
Yeah, that is great. And he seems like a very likable kid, very easy to root for him. So we shall see what's next. But you made me think that was a great wrap-up and covering a lot of fights, thorough breakdowns by you. Before moving on, one last thing in wrapping up today's episode, talked about scouting and talent. There was one guy who I found quite some time ago and fought this past weekend on the ESPN top-ranked card, and that's Prospect Abdullah Mason. He was victorious again, 6th-round knockout. So I just want to touch on that because I know we didn't take the time to fully break it down, but the guy that we've talked about on these airwaves before. So just wanted to mention him.
I love that guy. Listen, I love his talent. I love his technique. He's got good people around him teaching him right. He's got experience. He's got a great amateur background. So he's got all those keys you need, right? Talent, ability, technique, the amateur background, all of that. But he's got the one other thing. See, I named 4. You need 5. He's got what Cus always told me, the making of a champion. He got off the floor and he won. He's got that. Want to call it hard? Go ahead. Call it hard. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Resiliency. I just call it that. He's got that.
Yeah, he does. And he's only 20 years old. So we will be talking about him for many years to come, I'm sure. So I want to ask you, next week's fights, we got a big fight coming up in the welterweight division. We have a unification bout. We have Jaron Boots Ennis versus Eimantas Stanionis. Want to get your early thoughts, preview for this welterweight unification title fight.
Yeah, Stanionis. All right, well.
And I got to say, while you're getting ready to tee it up there, I'm just excited to see a championship fight back in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's been too long. As a kid, I used to be lucky to go all the time. I saw Floyd Mayweather fight at Toro Gatti there and many, many great world championship fights, and it hasn't been. So I'm very happy to see that.
No, I mean, you said it right. I mean, Atlantic City, Vegas became, the place of fights, but Atlantic City used to be that place. Vegas, of course, as I said, you don't need me to tell you that it became the capital of boxing, if you will. But Atlantic City was that. Atlantic City used to be that. And it's nice to see, it really is nice to see fights come back to Atlantic City. There's no doubt about that. There is a doubt about where I put my scouting report on Stanionis. I can't find it, but it doesn't matter. Oh, I can. It fell. It fell. Can you get it, Rich? That's why I couldn't find it. Earlier when I slammed my desk, don't slam your desk, bud. When you slam your desk, sometimes stuff drops off the desk. So my scouting report, Stanionis, 15-0, 9 KOs. Am I correct? That's what he is, right? Here's the scouting report. You're going to get it right from the horse's mouth. For me, physically strong, aggressive, covers up well, presses behind the jab, looks to throw the left hook a lot, goes to the body. He blocks more than he moves his head. He will move his head, but he does a lot. He depends on blocking a lot. Keeps his hands up covered. Tries to make himself into a tank, and then he can come forward, and it's hard to penetrate his cover, right? Sometimes throws a left hook to the body from a little too far away. I think he could be vulnerable to a right-hand counter by Ennis when he does that. You can split his guard down the middle. I like when guys cover up well, but if they stay stationary, you could blind them with the jab, kind of a la George Foreman. You blind them with the jab and you shoot the right hand right down the middle, you can catch him. I think that Ennis is going to have chances to do that. He can be vulnerable to the uppercut. He leans forward a little bit. Again, he's got the earmuffs on. He leans forward a little bit. He can be vulnerable to that uppercut, which, of course, Ennis throws a good uppercut. He throws a lot of good shots. And here's one of the keys. He throws a lot of single and double shots, especially single shots. I never see him throw triples. He leaves a lot of men on the base. We're in baseball season now, right? Just started, right? The Yankees are doing real good. I think the Mets are doing pretty good, too, for you New York fans. But he doesn't put combinations together. Mostly single shots and double shots, and that ain't going to get it with a guy as good as Ennis. Like I said, mostly left hooks, blocks, not many combos. He'll step out, he'll try to control range, he'll step out, he'll step back in. He's one-dimensional. He's pretty much that. That's what he is. He depends on pressure. He's gutsy. He hasn't learned how to lose, so obviously he's confident. Doesn't really incorporate a feint. I would love to see a guy who's aggressive all the time, feint once in a while, knock on the front door, come in the side door, get you off balance so it's not so easy to time him coming in. I don't see him really doing that. He obviously wants to get on the inside. He looks for his power shots more than anything else. He'll square up with his feet when he gets inside, and when you square up with your feet on the inside, that means you're giving a lot of target to a guy, and especially a guy who's a good offensive fighter like Ennis. I don't see Ennis having a problem with him. I think he's a gutsy guy in Stanionis. I think he's, like I said, he hasn't learned how to lose. He'll put his best foot forward. He'll come forward. He'll try to win a fight. He won't try to just survive. His style's not made up that way. His mentality is not made up that way. He will try to win. I see Ennis controlling the outside. I see him making him pay a price to get inside because Stanionis can't win on the outside. He's going to have to get inside and make something happen with Ennis. I see Ennis making him pay a price with the uppercut, with the jab, making it hard for him to get inside. And then even on the inside, I see Ennis he knows how to fight inside too. I see him having the edge with hand speed. He throws short punches. He can put power together. I don't see this as look, anything can happen, but I don't see this as a upset special for me.
Yeah, that matches up to Las Vegas. They have Boots Ennis as a 7-1 favorite heading into this match for next weekend. But just want to let the fans know we'll be doing a live stream back at it. So if you want to listen in, join us and watch and listen to Teddy's commentary during this fight. Please join us, and we'll put up a post just to remind you guys. And also on that card, it's one of your favorite fighters to watch, former 126-pound champion Ray Ford. So he'll be on the co-feature for Jalolov as well.
He's a good fighter. That guy's a good fighter. That fight with Nick Paul in Saudi Arabia was very close. I love Nick Paul, but I had Ford, I got to tell the truth, I had Ford, as the English would say, nicking it. Yeah, I love that. I had him nicking him. I had him nicking it a little bit, but he didn't get it. They gave it to Ball, and I love Ball. Ball's just tremendous kid, tremendous fighter, one of the most exciting fighters in the sport. He's good for the sport. Ford's good for the sport too. The guy's a complete fighter. The guy is a talented fighter. Technically solid. He can fight inside, outside. I'm glad he's fighting. I'd love to watch him.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll wrap it up for this week. Any closing words, final thoughts?
Yeah, you got the you got the final national championship game tomorrow night, right? Remember what I've always told you? But more importantly, being that we're talking about basketball, what the great Charles Barkley said, and I emphasized and quoted him for saying it yesterday, will beat skill. We will see now. It will be the will of Houston against the skill of Florida. But does Florida have enough will to mix and merge with their skill to win a national title? I'm going to say they do, but it's going to be fun to watch.
That's right. I can't wait to watch it. And I can't wait to be back with everybody next week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next week.